Well, you couldn't ask for a more picture-perfect September weather night than what we have here tonight in Cincinnati. And we're set to begin the final homestand of the year, a homestand entirely against National League Central Division opponents. It begins with the first of four against the Chicago Cubs. And hi again, everybody, back alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Hard to believe, Cowboy. Maybe not hard to believe. Beginning the final homestand of the year, we look inside the National League Central presented by Honda and where the Reds are in the standings, along with a wild card. And that all of a sudden has gotten pretty interesting. But for the Reds, they've talked a lot about getting to the 500 mark and beyond.
Well, I think anytime that you're talking about the pennant chase or you're talking about winning baseball, you first start at the 500 mark. And I think the Reds were talking about that coming into the season. You get to 500, then you move beyond. Well, it has come to the point for the Reds, regardless of what everybody thinks, it is not going to be a playoff season. It's about getting to 500. Everybody says, well, so what? Well, the difference between being under 500 and above 500 is being a loser or being a winner. And in this town, being above 500 and being a winner is very important.
And it would be 2 years in a row where the Reds 100-plus seasons. Well, Dontrell Willis is just looking for one. I mean, give the man a little love. He's looking for one win. We'll talk about that when we come back. Baseball. What about the rest of the night weather-wise? We check in with our good friend Michelle Boudoulet.
Weather-wise, picture perfect for the ball game this evening. Lots of sunshine early on. Temperatures, though, will be a bit cool. 81 degrees by the 7th inning stretch. Just a few clouds out there. 76 by the end of the game. Mostly clear and comfortable.
Michelle, thank you very much. How about Dontrell Willis, Cowboys? Certainly has pitched well enough to get a few wins by now. He doesn't have any.
Well, you would think by now that he would have a win, especially the way that he's thrown the baseball. He's got 9 quality starts on the year, 3rd on the club. But the problem is, Tom, he's not getting any offense behind him. As a matter of fact, he is last when it comes to offensive numbers. And the biggest issue for Dontrell Willis, I think, tonight will be pitching deep into the ball game. His last 5 out of 6 starts, I believe, he has pitched 7+ innings against this Cub ball club. I think that'll be important for him tonight to stay around just in case he needs one last run to put him over the top.
He's been a good pitcher. He's been a great teammate. And we'll see if the Reds can get him win number 1 of this season. Bring on the Cubbies. The first of 4 straight night games gets underway next.
A better state by your local Ford dealer. Ford, drive one. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time.
Welcome back to Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. Dontrell Willis and the Reds have taken the field defensively to begin this final homestand of the year. And the Cubs provide the opposition for the first 4 games. Their batting order has Starlin Castro, Reed Johnson, and Aramis Ramirez down at 3rd. Jeff Baker, the surprising cleanup hitter at 1st. Alfonso Soriano in left. Marlon Byrd in center. And a latter 3rd of Giovanni Soto, Darwin Barney, and veteran right-hander Rodrigo Lopez. Look inside the numbers for Dontrell Willis. 11 starts, you mentioned, Cowboy. 9 of them quality starts.
Even though the last time he pitched against the Cubs, which was not but about 10 days ago, his last start out, he pitched pretty good, Tom. He only gave up 4 runs in the ball game, but he pitched 7 innings. And I think tonight, if he can pitch the same type of ball game that he had against the club last time, I think this is going to be his first win of the night. He knows them, and I think he has a better idea about what he wants to do with the ball tonight.
Well, we're set to go. The youngster Starlin Castro playing in his first full season in the major leagues, and by all accounts you would have to say it has been A remarkable success for Castro. First pitch is off the outside corner, and we are underway. Comes into this game with a 12-game hitting streak. That's a career high. And this year he now has 4 hitting streaks of at least 10 games. And he's the first Cub with that many hitting streaks in the same season since a pretty fair Cub hitter Mark Grace back in 1992.
Pretty fair. The thing that I've noticed about Castro as time has gone on, his eye has improved. He's not swinging at as many pitches outside of the strike zone, and he has really fit well in this leadoff spot.
Well, that didn't take long. A 4-pitch walk, and when Dontrelle Willis has had control issues, and there have been some of those issues this year, better than the last couple of years, but they're still lingering around from time to time. It generally happens very early in a game.
And a lot of it, Tom, and he's going to face a multitude of right-handers tonight, but it's almost trying to find that release point against right-handers, and once he finds it, things seem to roll in the right direction. Left-handers, not a problem. Left-handers have they really don't have a chance against him.
Breaking ball low and in, ball 1 to Reed Johnson in limited playing time. Johnson has done major damage. Hitting up at .323, 5 home runs, 27 batted in, has 22 doubles. And you're talking about all those numbers in a little more than 200 at bats. There's a first strike from Willis.
I think the question continues to move around baseball. When you see the numbers of Reed Johnson, you think to yourself, why is this guy not starting every day for somebody?
We were talking about that with a Cubs analyst over on the television side. Your old friend, my old friend, Bob Brenly, your former teammate, my former broadcast partner. And, you know, you start to wonder. And obviously the Cubs are in search of a new general manager. They have already relieved Jim Hendry of his duties. They're going to hire a new general manager not long after the season is over. But, you know, Cowboy, that's why general managers are paid a lot of money to make a decision on a guy like Johnson. If you played him every day, would he be doing the same kind of things that he's doing right now?
Exactly. Maybe he is just one of those guys that is a spot player that can be your 4th outfielder, that can put up these kind of numbers, and these kind of numbers are awfully good.
2-2. Of course, the Reds know all about those kinds of decisions. We'll be talking a lot about those over the next 4 days. Cowboy, you'll be here in the booth the next 4 nights.
They have a ton of decisions to make, top to bottom.
A lot of these Cub players are running on fumes. They didn't get started in New York last night on a Sunday night game until nearly 8:30. The game went into extra innings, did not end until close to 1 o'clock in the morning. That one is served into center field, a base hit by Johnson, and Castro on to second base. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively, presented by Ford. A lot of the youngsters in the lineup tonight. Alonso, Sapelt, and Bruce in the outfield. Juan Francisco's down at third.
That's not their ages now.
That's exactly right.
It's close, but that's not their
far.
ages.
And of course, Mesoraco behind the plate for Dontrelle Willis. Take a look at that. First Reds lineup tonight to start 5 players 24 or younger since, well, nearly this date 7 years ago. A lot of talent, a lot of youth.
Very much talent.
We're starting to talk about this Cub team because their game went so long last night. And that was at Citi Field. They were going to drive across the street and fly out of LaGuardia. But there is a curfew time as to when planes can fly in and fly out of that airport. That ball blasted into left field up against a wall by Ramirez. Castro will score, and that's a run-scoring double to make it 1-0 Chicago, and still nobody out.
Ball up in the strike zone, the same as you saw from Reed Johnson. But when you start getting it up to the big boys, instead of a single, it turns into extra bases.
Cubs were forced to fly out of Newark, which is a lengthy ride from Citi Field. Their plane did not take off till after 3:30 in the morning. They landed in Cincinnati about 5:30 this morning, and their heads did not hit the pillow until a little after 6:15 this morning. They'll play 4 straight night games here and then play a day game Friday in Chicago. 1-1 to Jeff Baker.
Sometimes, though, Tom, when you have that type of flying situation, it may not catch you tonight, but it will definitely hit you by tomorrow night. You may be able to go on fumes tonight and push that adrenaline button, but there's only so far that that'll take you.
Two and one to Jeff Baker, and Dontrell falling behind the Cubs cleanup hitter. And there's a swing and a miss to even the count. Baker, another guy, much like Reed Johnson, in limited playing time this year, has put up very, very good numbers. And you see excellent success against Dontrell Willis.
That you have a pretty good bat in Baker when normally he would be your second baseman, and you've got him playing first behind both, or in front of both Pena and Brian LaHair, who are probably the biggest power threats on this Cubs ball club. But then again, they're left-handed.
We brought up earlier this season, left-handed batters are batting just 137 against Dontrell Willis, 7 hits and 51 at bats, and only 2 of those hits have been extra base hits.
And they came in one game against the Braves.
And there's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Second walk by Willis, who's not retired a batter, and here comes Brian Price.
Dontrell looked awfully surprised at that pitch that split the plate in half, but that ball was down. And where he's got to find right now is a place where he can go in consecutive fashion and get a strike and get somebody to swing the bat and start to get these Cubs a little more aggressive and get them out in front of the baseball. Right now, he's having a tough time. They're just sitting there waiting for the mid-thigh fastball.
Well, here's a guy always looking for the first pitch mid-thigh fastball, and that's Alfonso Soriano. Willis throws him something with a wrinkle in it, and Soriano comes up empty. 24 home runs for Soriano, 75 runs batted in, but just a .245 batting average. There's a broken bat base hit into left field that'll bring in Johnson. They're still loaded with nobody out, and the Cubs lead 2-0. Willis has got to figure something out in a hurry, or this could get ugly before there's a single out recorded.
Alfonso Soriano, it can be 0-2 all day, every day. He is still going to be looking for a fastball. You can throw him 1,000 breaking balls in a row. On 1,001, he's looking for the heater.
Walk hit, 2-0 Cubs. And they're loaded with nobody out. Here's Marlon Byrd. There's a Tapu. And Francisco comes to the plate. They cut down the runner there, and that's a first out in the inning.
The one thing that will surprise you about Juan Francisco is how much improvement he has made in a year's time on his defense. Not only the range from left to right, but also the ability to come in and get the baseball. And he has one heck of an arm over there at third base. That's one of the reasons that you don't want to see this game get out of hand early, because you would like for the folks at home to get to see some of these young players really be able to put up their talent, because they've got some talent coming, and a lot of them are out there today or tonight.
Well, the only player the Reds have in a starting lineup that's hit 30 years old, it's on the field here tonight, is Brandon Phillips. Giannis deep in the hole. They get one. They'll try and turn it, but too far to Giannis to go get it. So the force play will bring in a third run in the inning. There are 2 outs. Nice play by Giannis.
Tell you what, Tom, by the time he got to that ball, even though the ball was hit off the end of the bat, I didn't think he had any chance at all at second base. And not only did they get Marlon Byrd easily at second base, but they almost turned the double play.
So now the 8th man to bat in the inning is Darwin Barney. And there's strike one to the rookie second baseman at 278, a pair of home runs and 42 driven in. Slow roller down to Francisco, and a good throw to Votto, and that will retire the side. 8 back, 3 score. Reds coming up. The front three. Jay Bruce, a cleanup hitter. Yonder Alonso out in left field. Devin Mesoraco behind the plate. And allowed it through to Juan Francisco Paul Giannis Dontrell Willis. It's a right-hander who's been around a long time, bounced around in his career. When he's good, he's very, very good. And tonight makes his 14th start, 24th appearance. That's Rodrigo Lopez.
He has yet to have a loss pitching against a Reds ball club. Rodrigo Lopez spent most of his career in the American League, came up with the Baltimore Orioles. But the big thing with Lopez is he's not overpowering, and he knows that. So every pitch that he throws is going to be predominantly down in the strike zone, and continues to throw off-speed pitches, breaking balls, change-ups, occasional fastball, but the fastball will either be cut or sinking some way, somehow.
Branded at .295, 12 home runs and 74 runs batted in. He takes inside ball one. A rare off day yesterday for Brandon Phillips in the road trip finale in Colorado. A trip that wound up watching the Reds win 4 while losing 5. They started that trip winning 2 out of 3 in St. Louis. 1-0 pitch in the air, right side of the infield, easy for Darwin Barney. Cubs on defense, presented by Ford. Talked about Johnson getting playing time out in right. Barney and Castro, a couple of youngsters up the middle, and Giovanni Soto working with Rodrigo Lopez as the battery. Well, here's a guy starting to show what he's capable of doing, and that is Dave Chappelle. Had a very slow start when he first came up. Swung the bat better, although this at bat will not last long nor have success. 2 away.
You are right about that, Tom. When he first came up, he did that, swinging at the first pitch every time. Lately, he's been much more patient.
Time now for our Farmers Insurance report card on Joey Votto among all National Leaguers. Votto, the best batting average going back to the start of 2009. So nearly 3 full years at .322 batting average. Pretty good names on that list. Braun, Holiday, Pujols. Not too shabby.
Studies a lot of tape.
And the batting average will move higher.
Short and quick to the baseball. He gets fooled by the speed, but you can see the hands continue to stay back, and it allows him to get to that pitch even though it was off speed and away from him. The body may have gotten fooled, but the hands were not.
So now Jay Bruce at .263, 30 home runs and even 90 runs batted in. On the outside corner, a strike. Lopez has pitched in 250 major league games. Tonight his 213th career start. Originally broke in with San Diego, but that was only for part of the 2000 season. Jeff mentioned earlier, spent 5 years in the Baltimore Orioles rotation. A year in Colorado, a year in Philadelphia. Last year in Arizona. There's a roller up the middle, and that's an infield hit for Jay Bruce.
Put that ball in about a perfect spot. You can see Castro come across the middle to get the baseball as he dives for it. Goes right under his glove. Well, by the time Darwin Barney gets to it, forget about it.
Look at the numbers for young Yonder Alonso. Up over 400. Granted, in limited playing time, but hey, when you play, you got to produce, and you can't do much better than Alonso has done.
He has been fun to watch, especially here early.
You know, when you have other people from other teams who have only seen you maybe for a series or two max, when those people are talking about you, you're obviously making an impression. And those were the Cubs that have now seen Alonso for a couple of series are already talking about this guy and the way he swings a bat. Question is, where does he fit in looking ahead to 2012?
And I don't think anybody knows that yet. The leading position at this point would be left field, simply because that's where he's been lately, but who knows. Came up as a first baseman, played third base all through Little League and until he got to college. The thing I like about this kid, Tom, is he's gonna give you two big hacks to drive the ball out of the ballpark until he gets 2 strikes. At 2 strikes, he's going to choke up, and then he's going to put the ball in play.
Started 2. Did he go? They appeal, and yes is a verdict by Gary Darling down at third. So the Reds leave 2. We go to the second with the Cubs in front, 3-0. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Devin Mesoraco making a strong case to be the everyday catcher looking ahead to next year. Cowboy.
He is awfully strong. A young catcher with some fresh legs. He can run like the wind, and happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Come here, Denise. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. All right, well, we got to blow them out, right? How many of them are there on here?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Wish it's going to come true now.
That is very, very sweet. Did all you guys have something to do this, or this is Denise's idea?
Well,
all you guys. Thank you very, very much. Jim Day, you're in part responsible for this?
No, just the singing part.
You're a liar.
I think it was started by the producer, Christian Roberts.
Well,
then
Christian
Denise
Roberts
jumped on board, of course,
downstairs,
because Denise takes care of us
and
each and every
everybody
day.
else. I can't thank you enough. Yes. Thank you very, very much.
But the big thing is we got the candles out. Now Cowboy can tear that bad boy up.
You can mark it down.
Go
Of course, then
back.
again, it's in the back of the booth. So by the time Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, Jesse Jackson are finished with the thing, we may not get a piece of birthday.
Oh, we do have ice cream back here.
No, we didn't. All right.
Are you kidding me? Cowboy's got his own stash.
Boatload.
Well, yes, he does. But thank you very much. Yes, here's all you need to know, and I'm sure more than you want to know. Fishing with Dad. How about that? Does it get any better than that?
There you go.
And a proud alum of Anderson High School and Ohio University. Yes, indeed. So thank you.
Happy
Cowboy,
birthday, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
It's very, very kind. Gentlemen, ladies, thank you. Thank you.
Had the little ones up here earlier.
Yep.
Mama was up here. It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't. You know, it's funny. Obviously, like all of you at home, your kids are in school right now. There's a ground ball by the pitcher Lopez to begin the inning, and there's one out. Kids got to get up early in the morning tomorrow. And Mom decided she was going to surprise her husband, that being me, and bring the kids down to the game tonight. Well, as many of you probably know, trying to have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old keep a secret would certainly not be anything I don't think the CIA or the FBI would be very proud of.
No, it doesn't work.
So, spilled the beans this morning. They're down here tonight. Thank you, all of you. It's been a great day. Awesome day.
Still fun.
Just glad to be here.
It's still fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just had a birthday a week and a half ago.
That's right. You and I, we fold them over in September every year.
And born the same year.
I know.
You just turned 48, right?
Same as you.
Indeed.
There you go.
So 1 out and nobody on. Cubs got 3 runs in the first inning and have a 3-0 lead here in the second. Castro on the ground. They're going to take care of him after a walk and a run scored an inning ago. You know, Cowboy, I've always wondered, and I mean, you wish you had a nickel for every time that somebody has said it about if you're going to get to a pitcher, get him in the first inning, and the difference between a bullpen mound and then the mound out on the playing field. It's the only sport where in the pitcher's case you don't get to practice on the field of play you're actually going to play on before a game starts. It's a very odd sort of thing.
Right.
Nonetheless, when it's your home ballpark, I've always wondered why that still happens. I mean, on the road I get it, but why does it happen at home? Any reason?
I think that's just the way the game works. I mean, the only time that you ever get to warm up on the mound that you're going to pitch on is in a rain delay or in a rain delayed ball game. Then you get to start on the mound.
Willis, a good athlete, comes to get the bunt. Throws out Johnson. And a good second inning for Dontrell. Cowboys time to get a little cake.
Got that right.
Let's extend this break.
made my way to the Cubs broadcast booth. We gave them some cake. Your former broadcast partner, I will call him Mr. Brindley because I have that much respect, but he wants to give a little message.
Well, it's amazing to me. I've known Tom and Marty for a long time, and Tom is actually now older than Marty. Marty has stayed the same. Tom continues to get older, but he does look great for 60. So I hope he has a great day today.
I can't top that, Tommy.
No, you can't. You know, leave Brindley alone. You know, his act is a little tired to begin with, and he needs to earn that paycheck over here, which is grossly inflated, I might add. Jim, thanks a lot for getting Mr. Brindley involved. That's funny. Funny man, Bob Brindley.
Yes, sir.
Funny man. He had a chance to go back, and we were visiting before the game. Cowboy, when Bob was over here, as Devin Mesoraco pulls one foul. They just had the 10th anniversary of that Bob Brindley managed Arizona Diamondback World Championship team over the weekend out in Phoenix. And he was able to get away from the Cubs and his broadcast duties for a couple of days and go back there to enjoy that. He said every single player on that team that wasn't still playing, and believe it or not, 10 years ago, there are still 3 guys that are still playing in the major leagues. But outside of those 3, everybody else was there.
That's got to be awfully cool.
They had Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling throw out the first pitches, standing next to one another. He said that Johnson threw about a 92-mile-an-hour strike, and Schilling threw it all the way to the backstop. One and two on Devin Mesoraco. In the air, driven into right center field, but plenty of room out there for Johnson. 1 out. Well, Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, you can join them 30 minutes before every game with the Emmy Award-winning Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. And don't forget, this Saturday, September the 17th, we'll have a special hour-long Reds Live in order to bring you the Johnny Bench ceremony. And they're going to unveil the statue. We'll have all of that in its entirety. That'll get underway 6 p.m. this Saturday, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. That is going to be a very special night indeed.
No doubt about it.
There are some tickets still available. Launched way back into right field. That cleared the bleachers in right field. That baby may be in the Ohio River.
That went over the moon deck.
Well, we've talked about the power possessed by this young man, Juan Francisco. We have not seen anybody hit it over the moon deck in a long time.
Juan Francisco loads up that backside, and when he comes through, it's just flat out buggy whip. Hips and hands and everything else he's got coming through on that baseball. Boy, it's one thing for the outfielders to look up and watch it go over their head. It's another thing for the fans to look up and watch it go out of the ballpark. My goodness.
Third home run in just 48 at-bats this year for Juan Francisco. A young man, we talked about it many times. Has put together just absolutely monster power numbers in the Reds minor league system coming up through the ranks. Has won a Caribbean World Series Most Valuable Player Award. Has won a Dominican Republic Winter Ball MVP Award. And then this year, just bad luck. He got hurt every time Roland got hurt.
Well, you can see the turn before the swing, and that's where he generates all of his power. And that ball continues to fly right over the top of that there.
Man, you know, Many of you watch a lot of games on television, occasionally maybe get a chance to come down here. We're fortunate enough to be here virtually every night. You could watch baseball for now, and it's not an exaggeration. You can sit here and watch every game for the next 10 years. I don't know if you're going to see one or two balls
hit like that.
Hit like that ball.
And you're right on the money with that, partner.
You know, we're going to find out certainly from Rob Butcher or somebody in the Reds media relations department. I cannot recall anybody hitting one over the moon deck since the 2007 year when you and I had a chance to move back into town, Cowboy. There's a base hit off the glove of the first baseman Baker by Dontrell Willis. Do you recall? Am I forgetting somebody?
I've not seen one that I know of that's gone over that fence. Now, I've thought about it. I don't remember Dunn or Griffey, either one. And they may have done it before I got here or before we got here or got back here. But that ball was absolutely just destroyed.
Well, they're talking about the same thing. I mean, both benches are talking about the exact same thing.
And the ball was not down the line, folks. The ball was more towards right center field than it was towards the line.
And it wasn't like he just barely skimmed the top of that fence up at the top of the bleachers up there. I mean, that ball was a good solid 20-25 feet above that fence.
Well, the gentleman that was at the top of the stands was looking dead up as the ball went over the top of him.
So it's a 3-1 ball game. And Phillips hits one in the air to left field. And this is going to tie the game at 3. That one in the second deck.
Now we're going to remind you one more time, folks. The Reds do not have a player over the age of 30. And the one that is 30 just went in the upper tank in left field. On the field tonight.
Well, Brandon Phillips is safe at home, safe and secure in New York Life. A pair of home runs in the inning. A monster blast off the bat of Francisco. And another big fly by Brandon Phillips. Brandon going to walk by Francisco and maybe flex his muscles. Say, take that, big fella.
And for those of you that are out there that think that Dontrell Willis is older than 30 years old, he is not. He is one of the ones that is 29.
This will end the inning. The Reds get home runs from Francisco and Phillips. And we're tied at 3 at the end of 2. Very good friend, Linda Antis from CincinnatiUSA.com. How are you?
Just great, and happy birthday
Thank
to
you.
you.
You look great. You look tan.
Well,
You've been outside a lot. What have you been doing?
Actually, Dink was just saying, what are you doing, 3-day weeks now? And we said, no, there's a new trend. It's called workation.
Well, you look great. How do you think Cowboy
Thank you.
looks?
I think you all look wonderful, and you just both have birthdays. Last week, this week.
That's
very
right.
exciting.
Well, thank you.
And thank you. I really am here. I couldn't let this season close, as you said, without coming in and saying, I missed you. It's been a month and a half since I was sitting with you.
I got to tell you, before we talk about a couple of things that are still going on with CincinnatiUSA.com, our producer, Christian Roberts, walks in the door today. And he says to me, did you see the USA Today on Friday? I said, no. Why? Well, how on the back of the news section they have a little blurb or a paragraph about every state in America. You know the section I'm talking about, the one page?
Absolutely.
Well, apparently on the Ohio news blast, it was about all of the hotel business that has increased in southern Ohio and across the whole state in general.
That's right.
During this year, during a terrible, just an awful economy. And I'm being serious about this. And I have no doubt a lot of it has to do with what you guys are doing at CincinnatiUSA.com.
Well, that's very kind. And we have a group of people here. Some of the heavy hitters in the tourism industry are down in one of the suites. We're going to go back and join them. And all of us have worked very hard together with you guys, the Reds. This is a staunch team, and people follow it. People travel in. It has been a great summer. In fact, I was just kind of looking at some of the results, and this is the strongest July we've had in 10 years.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations to everyone here, and we truly do say thank you. And there are some very exciting things coming up for the rest of the year. Holidays are wonderful here. And so when the Reds season is closed, celebrate Oktoberfest, by the way.
Well, that's where I was going to start.
Days.
Hold on now. It is the largest Oktoberfest in North America. In North America, you think about all the big cities in the United States with German heritage.
Right.
But the only Oktoberfest in the world bigger than the one in Cincinnati, naturally, is the one in Munich, Germany.
You bet. You bet. And it happens to be at the same time as the Brewers. So what a great match. And that should be a great matchup. And
you're always
I'm sure
talking
they'll have
about
visitors.
drinking.
Not I, said the cow. But that'll be a great weekend coming up. And, 10 days straight.
Right.
And then we say thank you to our Reds. And we move into the holidays. The holiday season is going to be so exciting. We have a brand new opportunity where the Duke Energy trains that were happening in the Duke building downtown are now moving to the Cincinnati Museum Center. So Union Terminal, which is known for trains, is going to be Train Central in a big way for entertainment during the holiday.
Well, another home run. This one opposite field home run by Jeff Baker. You're cheering for the...
I'm not.
That's a 4-3 game now in favor of...
Not
are you
good.
doing Chicago tourism as well now? That makes it a 4-3 game with the Cubbies now in front after the Reds had tied it. So they're moving. That's a big deal. And I'm glad you brought that up because for a lot of us parents, for young children, that has become an annual trip down to the Duke Energy Center for the train. So you're saying now it's up at Union Terminal where the kids museum is.
That's
and all
right.
that great stuff.
So it'll be a very, very special train display in Union Terminal, which is part of the legacy of trains in our marketplace. So very exciting.
All right, before we let you get out of here, anything else you'd like to say? Because I know you're always, your participation with the Reds has just been amazing. And Cowboy, I know you know this, but a lot of people may not know. That Reds caravan went away for a number of years, and were it not for the folks at CincinnatiUSA.com, you are now the title sponsor of the caravan for a number of years now. We'll be heading out again in late January.
You bet. And we'll be with you again. And in fact, we've been so excited because we've worked so closely with the Reds on radio affiliates as well in a lot of the markets. And we want to say thank you because we were talking to 200 of those stations throughout this entire season. So together with your viewers and the listeners from Reds on Radio, we love to reach out and,
well, those
and share
folks
all
love
the fun.
It. Those folks
they
love
do,
it.
and they're very, very good to us.
What about the World Choir Tour that you have coming in here?
Well, I'm so glad you said it, because the last thought I want to leave everyone with is that the world is coming to Cincinnati, USA next year. The World Choir Games, July 4th through 14th, first time in the United States.
That's going to be massive.
It is massive.
Massive.
It is massive. And together with that, there will be special museum exhibits at the Art Museum. There'll be a special Pompeii exhibit at Cincinnati Museum Center. So truly, the world is coming to Cincinnati, USA.
For those of you that are wondering what that is, in essence, for lack of a better term, it is the Olympic Games of choir music.
Absolutely. You bet.
That's big.
It is big. And we have hundreds of choirs already signed up, many of them coming from multiple countries around the world. A truly international event that has a lot of spirit and energy.
That ball a bit off the end of the bat into left center field, and it's off the glove of Dave Chappelle. He gave it a good run, but came up just short. A run scores, throw to third, and the runner is out at third, but the run counts. So a two-run third for the Cubs. Linda, we can't thank you enough for everything this year, and look forward to many, many great years ahead.
Thank you. It's a joy.
Always a pleasure.
And happy birthday.
How do you think Cowboy looks tonight?
I think he looks terrific.
Choir tour.
Do you consider him a handsome man?
Stop it. Stop it.
Are we going to go there?
Bless your heart. You're the best. You're the best. Value this season. Check concession stands throughout the ballpark for the Kroger meal deal. That includes a full-size adult hot dog, a bag of chips, 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Emerald Nuts. All for just $7. A Kroger meal deal. It's a great deal.
Hits this baby right off the nose. Giovanni Soto. Watch the effort by Dave Chappelle. Came up into the wall. The throw from Alonso hit the cutoff man. This is why. Because the cutoff man knows exactly where to go and how quick to get it there. And Giannis does a great job of taking the cutoff throw and putting it right on the money at third base to cut down Soto.
Starting off the bottom of the third inning, Joey Votto, a first pitch swing fly ball, run down by Marlon Byrd. So the Reds tied it with 3 runs in the second inning. And the Cubs jump right back in front with a 2-run third.
Ball ball seems to be hopping a little bit here tonight.
It does, and I mean it's a little bit warm. You know, as the late afternoon came around, we were in the high 80s today. But it's not particularly warm down there right now.
No, it's actually been a cooler afternoon than I thought it was going to be.
Jay Bruce had an infield hit in the first inning.
Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTN Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. JTN.
The balls hit earlier back in that Reds second inning by both Francisco and Phillips. I mean, there's nothing about the carry to those balls that had anything cheap about it. I think the Baker home run is the one that has surprised me, at least so far. And then how far that last ball traveled off the bat of Soto. They are saying that Francisco's home run traveled 502 feet.
Wow.
The longest home run recorded here at Great American Ballpark was hit by Adam Dunn in 2004 against Jose Lima, then of the Dodgers, estimated at 535 feet. The one hit by Francisco, the second longest in ballpark history.
Hit on the south side of Mering Way. That's on the other side of the street, by the way, towards the river.
For those of you not familiar with the downtown Cincinnati area, it is never going to happen. I guess never is probably too strong of a word, but it would be among the longest home runs in the history of Major League Baseball for anybody to reach the Ohio River here. You have to basically clear some walking room behind the grandstand area. 3 full lanes. Well, I take that back. 5 full lanes of a road. It's 2 lanes going each way with a median. Then you have a lot of grass area that they're converting into the park with all of the work going on at the banks connecting Sawyer Point. Ultimately, nobody's going to hit it in the river.
It would have to be a flood stage type of situation for the ball to get to the water in the air. But those of you that just saw the ball hit by Juan Francisco were able to witness one of the longest home runs that's ever been hit. 503 feet. That is a long way.
When you look at the list, we talked about Dunn, 535. Boy, I would like to have seen that. 535.
Isn't it the one that rolled up right by the water there where the cars were parked?
I think you're right. That was on an August day, so you know it was hot. Third longest home run, Willie Mo Pena. That's not a surprise.
Strong man.
498 feet. Reggie Abercrombie, some may remember him. Powerfully built young man, 493. Soriano has the 5th longest home run in this ballpark as Alonso rolls one foul. Alfonso Soriano back in 2006 hit a 492-foot shot as a Washington National against Brian Shackelford. I mean, you're talking about guys on that top 10 list. We mentioned some of them. Dunn's there 3 times. Ryan Howard, Albert Pujols, and now Juan Francisco.
almost got Jay leaning a little bit. Jay was running on the previous pitch. Whoa, better get back. You got Baker over there at first base. He's not normally a first baseman. He's got to catch the ball first, then tag.
Swing and a miss, strike him out, and that's a throw him out. Double play to end the inning. Into 3. Cubs lead 5-3.
America's restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO.
Well, right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, you can chat with our Hall of Fame baseball writer, Hal McCoy. It's only on FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. Boy, Hal's looking good. He's sporting a new haircut. He has gone with the... he had a funny line before the game. I said, boy, I really like your new haircut. Hal, you're going with that short look like a lot of guys are going with these days. There's a base hit in the center field by Darwin Barney. And he said that my wife wanted me to look like George Clooney. I look more like George Goebel. He's looking good, isn't he?
He's looking sharp.
I like that haircut. He's looking good.
Prime time.
Good man.
He knows the game, that's for sure.
That is for sure. There's a bunt attempt by the pitcher Rodrigo Lopez to try and advance the runner Barney, and it's fouled away for a strike. Lopez grounded out, his only time up. It's not been a good night for Dontrell Willis so far. First 5 Cubs that came to the plate in the opening inning reached. Wound up being a 3-run first. He went through the order 1, 2, 3 in the second, but allowed 2 runs, 3 hits in the third inning.
Just has a terrible, difficult time locating that ball down and away from a right-hander. See it there again. And a lot of it is not getting yourself balanced and loaded on that back leg before you come to the plate. You end up going a little bit too soon. The arm drags a little bit, and you end up pushing the ball, and the ball sails up and away.
3-1.
And it's a it's an obvious sign, because in order to correct that, you try to hold on to the ball a little bit longer instead of staying back longer. So you hold on to the ball longer and the ball goes down and into the hitter. You see it with pitchers all the time. The correction should be made with the weight transfer, not with the hand. You can see the body back here. This is the leg that he's got to stay on longer, and you can see the body is already coming forward before the leg has stayed back here on this back side. So the arm is going to drag as he comes forward that way, and it makes him feel as though he's pushing the baseball.
Lopez up there to sacrifice a runner, and he's drawn a walk. So 2 on to begin this Cub 4th inning, and I'm sure the Reds bullpen will get busy for at least a second time in the game tonight.
And that pitch there was one of those pitches where you say, okay, I'm just going to aim it in there. You don't correct the back leg. You just, all you're using is your arm. It's just a dart throw. Well, you can't control the dart throw because you didn't stay back long enough, and you keep holding on to the ball longer, and then it's down and in, and then you've messed up everything.
Well, now with 2 on and nobody out, the Reds are wondering, will the Cubs ask young Starlin Castro to put down a bunt? You'd figure not a chance. Although one, of course, never knows. He takes the first pitch in there, a strike. Mike Waddy is not a big believer in general of giving up outs to advance runners, and especially when you have a young player in pursuit of collecting the most hits in all of Major League Baseball before this year is over, and a 2-run lead in just the 4th inning. 1-1 on Castro. If Starlin Castro were to finish the year with the most hits in the National League, and currently he leads in that category, he would be the youngest player to ever do it in the National League. On the final day of this year, Castro will be 21 years and 191 days. Only 3 players ever in either league have been younger than that and led the league in hits. Actually, I take that back. 2 players, but done 3 times. Al Kaline, the youngest ever, had a 200 hit season when he was 20 in 1955. Ty Cobb, when he was 20, and then when he was 21, did it twice.
And now you're going back to some names.
1-2 to Castro.
Crazy part about it, Tom, is we saw the kid's debut.
Boy, did we ever.
He slapped one right out there in that right field bullpen. First at bat. See ya.
I mean, that was a Major League record-setting night last May. Castro in his first Major League at bat at a home run. He knocked in 5, or was it 6? It was the most ever.
Might have been 6.
Pretty sure it was 6, and it was the most ever by any player in the history of baseball in his Major League debut. Two and 2 to Castro as Jared Burton begins to loosen the Reds bullpen. This will knock in at least 1 more. Scoring is Barney. They're going to hold the runner, the pitcher, at third base. That's an RBI double for Castro to give the Cubs a 6-3 lead.
Dontrelle Willis just cannot get the ball down. Every pitch has been up, 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 regardless of the efforts that he has made out there to try to change things. He's either been up and away or down in the dirt into the right-handers. He's had some lineups that he's been able to face where he's had some relief in there where he's had a left-hander that has stood in or has had an out, because left-handers for him have been automatic outs, but now facing all right-handed lineup. This has been by far his worst start yet.
Starlin Castro extends his career best hitting streak to now 13 straight games. They're at second and third with still nobody out. And they're going to keep Willis in the game despite the fact that Burton is up and throwing. You don't know if he's quite loose enough yet to come into the game. Giannis going to come to the plate, and they get Lopez. Good play by Paul Giannis. 1 out.
Ball's hit hard enough to Giannis where he doesn't have to hurry. All he's got to do is make a good, strong throw. That's the one thing that I really love about Mesoraco. He is not afraid to get in front of the plate. And he's not one of those guys that's going to go out and catch the ball and then come back and try to tag you. He's going to sit on the plate and make you try to find it while he catches the baseball, i.e. Mike Scioscia.
2 on, 1 out for Aramis Ramirez, and that fastball sails up and away. Ramirez 1 of 2 on an RBI double in the first inning, and flied out to Dave Chappelle in the third.
Good changeup there from Dontrelle Willis.
On the ground, foul. Another good breaking ball to get ahead of Aramis Ramirez at 1-2.
Now back-to-back off-speed pitches. The changeup that he got him to swing over, and there he got the slider down under his hands, and he pulls it foul. Now there's a difference between throwing the slider down and in and throwing a fastball down in the dirt. When you throw the fastball down in the dirt, they're not even close to swinging at that.
Roller up a third base line. That stays fair, and Francisco waited on it, tried to get the out, and good hustle by Castro to beat it.
Well, this is just being a youngster in Castro, knowing that he's got Aramis Ramirez running. If he had known that and planned for it ahead of time, he would have come and gotten the baseball in a hurry and used that gun of his for an arm and had made the play at first base.
Well, a very short night for Dontrelle Willis, who has pitched so well, certainly well enough to get a win, which he obviously cannot do tonight. He leaves after 3 1/3 innings. So be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Cubs have him loaded with 1 out in the 4th, leading by 3. responsibility, and now trying to keep it at 6 runs charged to Dontrelle Willis, his right-hander Jared Burton.
Well, Burton has only pitched in one ball game that came on September 1st, and it has been a difficult road, to say the least, for this guy since the Reds picked him up. It has been the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, from surgical procedures to pitching great baseball. But the one thing that you'd like to see for this kid is to get back throwing strikes down in the strike zone, because when he's there, he's awfully nasty.
Bases loaded for Burton, and he'll be facing Jeff Baker, who's walked, scored, and hit a home run. And there's ball 1 low. And I know, Cowboy, you have talked many times that you believe the best way for Jared Burton to get back to that particular point in time is to be working a lot. And you just mentioned he's not pitched in 11 days.
For the way that he throws the ball, he has to pitch a lot. He's one of the types of individuals where you can't pitch him enough. He cuts his fastball either right away from the righties or in to the righties, and that's just how he pitches. There's not a whole lot of off speed to what he throws. And you see he has the ability to get the swings and misses, the pitches that good hitters can swing at and miss. Those are the types of pitchers that you want to have on your club. But on the flip side, you can't pitch him every day. He's got to adjust to that a little bit.
One-two pitch blocked nicely by Mesoraco. Bases are loaded for the Cubs here in the 4th inning. They've scored in now 3 of the front 4. 3 runs in the first, 2 in the 3rd. 1 so far. Burton trying to keep it right there here in the 4th. Reds come into play tonight 4 games under the 500 mark after that 4-5 road trip. And tonight they begin their final homestand of his 2011 year, all against divisional opponents. Great movement there. Baker chases, and that's out number 2 in the inning.
A little bit bigger break on this pitch than what you would normally see. That's why the velocity is a little bit down. But you can see how hard that breaking ball takes a left turn. He is a strikeout pitcher. There's no doubt about that. But when you haven't pitched in a while, you tend to squeeze the ball a little bit tighter, and you tend to really wrap it a little bit to make sure that it breaks. When you're pitching every other day or every 2 days, that baby just floats out of your hand. You don't have to think about it so much.
There is very little doubt when healthy, Jared Burton would be pitching on a lot of major league teams, would be part of their pitching staff. There is virtually zero doubt about that. Ball 1 to Soriano, looked like a cross up there, and Mesoraco wanting to come out and make sure they get it together.
You could see read the lips from Jared Burton shaking his head. I got it. I got it. He knew that he had crossed him up.
1-1 to Soriano. But an RBI single in a 3-run first inning. He grounded out to the shortstop in the 3rd. Bases loaded, 2 away, 1-1 to Soriano. Grounded foul, and now Burton has gotten ahead.
Now I think we may see that same pitch that we saw to Baker just a moment ago.
Pulled into left field down the line, and a 1-2 pitch is a base hit for Soriano. And it drives in a couple of more runs. It's 8-3 Chicago.
Whatever this pitch ends up being, looks like a two-seam fastball, but it ends up too much over the heart of the plate. And with a free swinger like Soriano and 2 strikes, you want to either throw it head high or bounce it a good 6 inches in front of home plate, because he will hit it on the bounce.
So those runs are charged to Dontrell Willis. The runner at third is his responsibility as well to Ramos Ramirez. And here's Marlon Byrd. It's already 8 runs and 10 hits for this game for Chicago. And they're only batting in the 4th inning. Bird got a pitch to hit right there and fouled it straight back. You talk about all the major decisions the Reds are going to have to make during the offseason. And I don't mean to slight Jared Burton in any way, shape, or form. When he first came to the Reds as a Rule 5 draft from Oakland, he gave him 2.5 really good years out of the bullpen. But let's face it, if there is such a thing as a depth chart in baseball, because of either injuries or ineffectiveness,
he's not at the top.
Burton has been passed up by a number of guys.
Yes.
But he is a guy they're going to have to make a decision on during the offseason. You know, do you go to arbitration with a guy like Jared Burton, or do you let him go, or package him up in a deal?
Exactly. I mean, I don't. I'm stumbling with words here simply because I can't imagine what it's going to be like to be the decision maker, the one that is Walt Jocketty that has to make the final decisions and cuts on these guys. Because I don't think there's any doubt that there's plenty of talent down there on the field of play for the Cincinnati Reds. But that gentleman right there, along with his advisors and with the ownership group with Mr. Castellini, they have got some decisions to make, and it is not going to be easy.
It's a good problem to have with all the talent that the Reds have. I mean, let's face it, up until the last couple of years, I mean, you'd be envious of any team that had to make some of the decisions that the Reds have to make this offseason. But, it's often been said, and Cowboy, I think you'll agree, when Atlanta had that run of 13 straight divisional championships, a lot of people felt like the thing Atlanta did better than anybody else was not necessarily knowing talent on other teams. It was knowing the talent on their team.
Exactly.
And being able to make the decision on which guys you decide to keep, which guys you don't decide to keep. And the ones the Braves wound up keeping were the guys that turned into really good players, if not great players.
Well, and that is the issue with the Reds that they face head on. And you and I both well know that when you let a player go, he's going, if he is talented enough, and a lot of these players are, they're going to get an opportunity to play somewhere else. You want to make doggone sure that doesn't come back to haunt you. And that's a tough evaluation process. It's just part of the game.
3-2 again to Bird, and it's in the air. Short right. Jay coming. He'll get it. And that'll end the inning. A 3-run Chicago fourth. They lead 8-3. Will honor the legendary catcher with an unveiling of a bronze statue outside the Reds Hall of Fame at 5 o'clock. Then you come on in the gates. A special pregame ceremony beginning at 6:30. First pitch will be thrown out by the Hall of Famer himself. 513-381 Reds, or visit Reds.com/bench night. What a night it should be. We are under a full moon tonight. On a beautiful night. Well, now the Reds come to bat. It'll start with Devin Mesoraco trailing 8-3 here in the bottom half of the fourth inning.
And normally you would say to yourself, well, this is a blowout. But with these youngsters that you have up there, you know that they are not going to quit and that every single at bat is going to be a big deal.
Well, for more on the Devin Mesoraco or the home run earlier, I beg your pardon, by Juan Francisco, let's check in with Jim Day.
Tom, I'm completely outside of the stadium. Juan Francisco's home run ball not only cleared the moon deck, it cleared the back wall of the stadium, which I'm estimating about 40 to 50 feet beyond the moon deck. It hit this tree right here. In fact, there's a remnants of a branch that was broken off. The branch that Juan Francisco's home run hit, a mammoth shot. The ball rattled around out here. One of the fireworks workers retrieved the ball. Juan Francisco wants it back. He's going to get that mammoth home run ball hit completely out of Great American Ballpark.
That's great hustle out there by Jim Day to go out there and bring us that report. Obviously, he got out there right after it was hit. So, Jim, thank you very much. I know he's a little under the weather tonight.
Let me ask you this. If it doesn't hit the branch and it bounces off of that asphalt out there, how far is that baby going then?
Well, it would end up because of the drop-off.
You got a chance. You got a chance.
Got a chance for the river. Man, is that a long home run. They call it 502 feet. South side of Mering Way. That's on the river side of a 5-lane road. Beyond the moon deck over the right field wall. And there's a laser into center. A fall on the base hit. The second hit tonight for Mr. Francisco.
Francisco almost spins and turns as he would a top. Watch him turn here and then just let it loose. Whack. That's how he generates so much power. That front hip coils backwards towards the back foot, and then hands and hips come forward all at once, all in the same motion. And when they make contact with the baseball, well, that ball's going to hurt.
Jim Day has brought the branch with him up to the broadcast booth. This is it right here, Jim.
This is the branch that it hit.
Are you the branch manager?
I am.
Wow, I like that. Very nice, Cowboy.
That was very nice, Cowboy. That was on spot.
So you're saying that where it's broken right there is actually where it hit?
Yeah, I've got good hands right there. Yeah, broke right there. Hit the top of the tree. Cleared not only the stands, but out of the stadium. And who knows, as you guys said, if it wouldn't hit the tree, it might have bounced big high hop down towards the river. And I was here the night that Adam Dunn hit that home run.
You were.
It was before the riverboat deck was out there. Hit it over the batter's eye, and it bounced clear down to the river, and it ended up on a little piece of wood right by the water.
Really?
Yeah. It was a mammoth shot.
Oh, yeah. Well, they said 538 feet. Are you kidding me? Are you going to give that branch to Mr. Francisco?
I'm thinking about it.
You know what? He might keep that thing in his locker.
He might. I'm thinking about it. He's definitely getting the ball back. In fact, they already got that as we reported, but I'm thinking about giving him the branch.
Well, it's nice to see you get out there. In the air down the right field line, and Garland Varney a couple of steps short. Here's that home run from Adam Dunn. The longest in the history of the ballpark. Wow. The big fella. He could hit him a long way.
Ballpark looks kind of funny without the riverboat out there, huh?
It is amazing for a quote-unquote newer ballpark. It is remarkable the number of wonderful changes and additions this ballpark has undergone since it opened. And really, when other teams come in here through the years, after initially not being crazy about the ballpark the way it opened, when it was just that, you know, that batter's eye out there, and the riverboat deck wasn't there, the power stacks weren't there, a lot of the other features that have been added to the ballpark. There are a lot of folks that come in now and feel like it's among the nicest parks in the league.
It is. It gives you a tremendous river feel, especially the fact that you can see the river beyond in the distance. You see the banks of the Commonwealth of Kentucky on the other side, and you do see riverboats coming up and down the river during the ball game.
Giannis gone on strikes, 2 out. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. Perhaps we'll turn to Luke or Ella Brenneman for our answer tonight. They've surprised Dad up here in the booth for his birthday. Who officially hit the longest home run recorded in Major League Baseball history? I think they'll come up far short on the answer to this one.
Looks like we got Todd Frazier up, pinch hitting for the pitcher spot this go round.
One and oh the count, and Frazier takes low, 2 balls and no strikes. Tapper down at third, and that's the out. All right, Ella, Luke, you surprised Dad. Take a look in there, right there. Can you sing happy birthday? Sing it quick. Sing it.
Happy birthday to you.
Apparently your brother's not interested.
Of course he's not.
During our game tonight, a Reds player, Sergeant Sean Fraley of the U.S. Air Force. He's home for 1 week before deploying again for Iraq for his 6th tour of duty. It'll be nice for a Red to get it tonight. Sean Fraley would win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Well, we begin the 5th, and the Reds bring on their 3rd pitcher. Dontrell Willis charged with 8 runs in 3 1/3 innings. Jared Burton got the final 2 outs in the 4th. And now Carlos Fisher.
Carlos Fisher, another one that has been up and down. And each guy that comes in the game, whether it doesn't really matter what the score is, you are pitching for an opportunity to be on this club next year.
Tell you one thing, Carlos Fisher could become a great reliever one day, and who knows? He may never pitch for the Reds again at the end of this year. We have no idea, but I know one thing. For the guys that play on the team with Carlos Fisher, he is a guy I think a lot of them are never going to forget based upon what he did in Philadelphia that night earlier in May.
That was a whole lot of innings he sucked up that night.
Fisher, for those of you that don't remember, Fisher was the AAA closer. So he was coming in to finish out games and pitch an inning, maybe occasionally an inning and a third. But nothing like that night in Philadelphia.
And the sad part about it is he is 0-3 on the year. And every one of those losses came in extra inning games where he pitched extended innings.
2 of them on the same trip. There's a base hit into center field. He entered the game on that May the 25th night in Philadelphia in the 14th inning. Pitched a career high 5 2/3 innings. Again, for a guy closing in the minor leagues, he threw 95 pitches in the game.
Oh, that makes my arm hurt.
So, I mean, this is a young man that took the ball that night, took it later in the same trip. If I remember, the team went from Philadelphia to Atlanta, where in another extra inning game he got a loss.
Did it again. I think he pitched 3 or 4 innings the following time and ended up getting another loss.
When you're having a championship season, if the Reds were this year where they were this time last year, I mean, those are the kinds of games that when you play for a team, your teammates never forget. And I only bring it up because we talked about the 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks, and ironically enough, in a game managed by Dusty Baker, a series then with the Giants, when the Diamondbacks in 2001 were going toe-to-toe with Dusty's Giants to win the division. Miguel Batista, who is still pitching in the major leagues even now, came into games for 2 nights in a row and did basically what Fisher did. Pitched 4 innings one night, 3 innings the next night, and both of those games were extra inning wins for the Diamondbacks, sending them on their way.
And Batista has done it all. Closed, started, set up.
Runner goes, throw to second, not going to be in time. That was a huge jump out there by Barney. Two and two on the pitcher Lopez, who is grounded to second and walked. Well, a career shrouded by controversy. Pete Rose, one of baseball's great moral debates. Tune in Tuesday night after the Reds Live to relive the story that is often forgotten, the crowning of the all-time hit king. That's this Tuesday. Tomorrow night after Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio. 41-92. Lopez gone swinging.
Struck him out with a fastball up and out over the plate, or out off the plate, I should say. But the big pitch in that hole at bat was allowing the runner to steal second base, because whether you get Lopez or not, the last thing you want to do is face Starlin Castro with a runner at second base and down by 5.
To Castro, who scored twice in the game. He's knocked in a run, extending his career high hitting streak to 13 straight games for Starlin Castro. He'll do better than that. He might extend it tomorrow night, but there'll be a lot more hitting streaks where that came from.
Kid doesn't panic. He's got a tremendous amount of confidence in his ability.
Well, you know, it is amazing. It doesn't matter what sport you're talking about. You can be blessed with all the talent in the world, but boy, you just can't impart sometimes to young players, young people. I mean, not just athletes, but young people in general. And we were all young. I like to call myself, I don't want to speak for anybody else, young and dumb. But
we've both been there, partner.
You know, it's that old adage about, boy, if I knew then what I know now. That ball is hammered into left center field by Castro, and that is long gone. And that makes it 10-3 Chicago.
And that goes back, that pitch there goes back to almost exactly what you were talking about, Tom. He had him swing at a bad pitch earlier in the count. Instead of going back into the strike zone to get a ground ball or to go inside to make him hit a ground ball, what Fisher did was overthrow a pitch at 95 that was a good 3 feet off the plate, and then he bounced a curveball in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. A hanging slider right in the heart of the plate.
You know, we're starting to talk about having all the talent in the world, and you know, the Cubs have already had a couple of issues. I mean, nothing major, but certainly some issues where they're hoping that Castro will grow up a little bit during this offseason, because boy, is he blessed with a pile of talent.
We can go backwards when we have 16 left, and just I'm urging these guys to play hard and finish strong as you can play.
Well, that's a goal, Cowboy. You talked about it at the very beginning.
When you ask the fans, they don't really understand what the big deal is about being over 500 or under 500. You came in third or you came in fourth, but for an organization that finally got to the playoffs last year, you want to establish a winning.
Well, that'll make it a 10-4 ball game. That's the second home run of the night for Brandon Phillips.
And that guy's a winner.
It's 14 home runs now on the year for Brandon. He's knocked in 3 runs tonight.
Regardless of the score, regardless of who you're playing, Brandon Phillips is bringing his game to the ballpark, to the play, whatever it is, every single time. Whether it's a home run swing, whether it's a diving catch or diving play, that's why he has a few gold gloves in that house of his. But 500 is important because you want to establish a winning tradition. Winning is continuing to edge over 500 year after year after year. A bad season is when you're close to 500. The rest of the time you want to make it into the playoffs and never even think about going back to being under 500 again.
2-2 on Dave Sapelto for 2 is fly to right and grounded out to second base. One out. Tell you what's gotten very interesting, Cowboy. We took a look at it briefly before the game got started tonight. Is that wild card race, not only in the National League, but also the American League. I mean, it was roughly about a month and a half ago if not longer than that, where I think a lot of us felt it was a foregone conclusion that the Atlanta Braves were a lead pipe cinch to be the National League's wild card team. Well, all of a sudden, you talk about organizations that are used to being over 500, organizations used to going to the playoffs. That certainly applies to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, after sort of plugging along, they've caught fire here of late. The Atlanta Braves came into St. Louis over the weekend. St. Louis beat them 3 in a row. And now all of a sudden going into play tonight, Cardinals are only 4.5 out of the wild card as Darwin Barney ranges far to his left to throw out Joey Votto. Over in the American League, it's gotten even closer than that, where again you thought the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees, one or the other, were going to win the wild card. Well, Tampa Bay all of a sudden is 3.5 behind Boston, and they play 4 games this weekend.
The thing about the game of baseball is momentum can change in a moment's notice, and when you don't have it and you start to lose, things start to get tighter and tighter and tighter, and you play tight, and when you play tight, it's tough to win.
A base hit in the right field by Jay Bruce. He's been on base 3 times tonight. A couple of singles and a walk.
I mean, I was on a baseball team in 1993 that won 103 games, and we went home. We went home.
That was before the advent of the wild card. That's when your Giants really had a chance to put that whole thing away. That final weekend of the year, you were in Los Angeles, as I recall.
We had the Braves buried. We were 10 up, and we had a very easy schedule in front of us, and we lost, I think, 10 of 12 ball games, if I'm not correct. 10 of 12 to some of the last place teams in the game. We let our guard down, we lost our momentum, and we went downhill, and then we fought back, but it was too late.
If I recall correctly, that Atlanta team, that was the year they traded for Fred McGriff, and I believe in his very first game he had a home run and the lights went out. Or maybe it was a fire that started before the game. That's what it was. There was a fire that started in the stands before the game one night.
It was in the stands just below the radio and TV press boxes.
Right. Before they opened the gates, as I recall, right?
Right.
That was the first day McGriff had showed up in a trade.
They had to cordon off that area, and they played the ball game anyway.
3-1 to Yonder Alonso and a 10-4 Chicago lead rolling the 5th. And a fly ball will end the inning. Marlon Byrd camps underneath it. That's at Phillips with a solo home run. We move to the 6th and a 6-run Chicago lead.
like a chicken Philly and onions and mayonnaise with a big bag of chips. How about that?
Well, we have a couple of Penn Station subs right here in the ballpark. In the Reds fan zone, you know where that is, in the main concourse over by the first base side. Then upstairs behind section 413. They send us food up here from time to time, and it is out of sight.
They make the real Philly cheesesteak like it's supposed to taste, not that fake stuff.
Aramis Ramirez to lead things off in the Cubs' 6th inning. Reds trailing Chicago in the first of 4, 10-4. And now it is 11-4. Aramis Ramirez clubbing one to the second deck. Tell you, Ramirez, after his slow start, has put together a very, very good year.
Hanging curveball. And Ramirez, with the way the ball is jumping tonight, I guarantee you he's trying to lift and separate. And boy, does he do it.
Saw his lips here. Wow. Standing there watching.
Just standing right there at home plate. That's why you pitch inside. Keep guys from leaning out over the plate, launching your pitch up into the second and third deck. Or you can keep throwing it outside, and they'll keep doing that from now until the cows come home.
You know, we were talking about that National League wild card race a minute ago, and both the Cardinals and the Atlanta Braves are in action tonight. The base hit in the center field by Jeff Baker. The Cardinals are winning and the Braves are losing.
And the Braves are playing one of their division rivals. They're playing against the Florida Marlins, who have had a very, for lack of a better word, a weird year. I mean, kind of up and down. And new manager Jack McKeon coming back in there. There's some talent on that ball club in Florida when they're ready to get after it. So you're kind of playing with a wild card there against the Marlins. You don't know what you're going to get.
I read an article the other day that said the Marlins, according to some inside sources, are going to be a heavy bidder for the services of Albert Pujols.
I don't doubt that for 1 second.
Moving into their brand new ballpark and just off of downtown Miami next year. I'll believe it when I see it. But I mean, the bottom line is, you know, they should start selling a lot more tickets.
Well, they want to fill up that park, and they want to sell tickets, especially the corporate boxes, at the maximum dollar value. The only way to do that is to have a guy like that coming to your ballpark. And that would go anywhere. I don't care what team you are. If you have the services of Albert Pujols for next year and the year after, you can book it in your bank account that folks are going to pay to come and watch him play.
Of course, the danger you run into is similar to sort of the way many may feel about a guy like Soriano, although Soriano was never the player that Albert Pujols has been. Soriano can still one of 3 guys that's ever gone 40-40 in the same year. 40 or more home runs, 40 or more stolen bases.
Yeah, but you're dealing with a totally different makeup,
no doubt,
in Pujols than you are with that guy.
Well, you know, the point I'm getting at is ultimately being saddled, if you will, with a contract.
He could get hurt. He could get hurt.
Yep. Well, being saddled with a contract, you know, by the time the guy gets to a 38, 39, 40 years old, and that's the kind of deal Pujols has been talking about looking for, at least his agent has.
Right.
of a player who was a shadow of what he used to be. Soriano gone on strikes, first out in the inning. Now I know a lot of you are going to guess the answer to our AT&T trivia question was Mickey Mantle's home run back in 1960, reportedly 634 feet. But we understand that was measured incorrectly, so the answer is 575 feet against Detroit at Yankee Stadium back in July of 1921 by the great Bambino.
That's a long way. 575. That ball probably wasn't even wound real tight either.
You're right.
Then again, I don't know of anybody in this league or any other league that I've played in that uses a 48 or 50 ounce bat.
The only guy who in the last 30 years or so they talk about using that kind of bat was Richie Allen. There's one. Look at a bare hand by Phillips. He knew after the bobble it's the only chance he had.
Comes to play.
Time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Over 500 feet it was measured off the bat of Juan Francisco. Back in the second inning, our Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
What's amazing about that picture, Tom, and you see him just about to make contact with the baseball, and his eyes are looking right down the barrel of the bat. That tells you he is really locked in on the baseball.
Devin Mesoraco is fly to right and bounced out to second base. Devin 2 hits in his first 16 major league at bats. And that ball is clobbered down the line. Did he get it? It is his first major league home run for the #1 pick out of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, Devin Mesoraco. Congratulations, young man.
That will be one of many. He is short and quick to the baseball. The more times that you see him at home plate, the more times you're going to see him hit balls, not necessarily like that to get out of the ballpark, but like that are line drives. This guy hits the ball very hard. And you see where that ball was. It was well in off the plate. and he is some kind of strong.
He is the youngest catcher to homer in a Reds uniform since
you know who,
Johnny Bench.
The old JB. Bada bing, bada bang. There's been a whole lot of that tonight. It's always nice to get that first one out of the way. That way you know you've showed the folks up here that you can do it. Now you can just go on and play ball. Watch the front hip of Francisco as the ball is coming. This hip right here. You can almost read his name and see his number as he turns to coil. But he's able to keep his eye on the ball. 2-1. Watch him turn this side in here. You can almost read the names and the number up here. That's why you're going to see sometimes where he gets fooled. It may look bad on a certain pitch. But he's also going to hit the ball where the first baseman gets out of the way. It's coming so fast.
You're not lying about that.
I'm telling you. You do not. You can see him really turn that side in. And this is where the strength comes from this young man, is his hips and his lower body. The hands just guide the bat. That's the pitch he's got to guard against. That's the pitch where a lot of pitchers are starting to try to get him, and that's climbing up the ladder once he has 2 strikes. See where this pitch is? It's up here, up above the catcher's helmet. When the ball is up there, you don't want to swing at it. And he's been working hard both on his fielding and laying off the balls in the dirt. He will conquer that as well.
Paul Giannis is grounded to short and struck out. First pitch breaking ball waves through it. 11-5, Chicago in front. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. They appeal a no, says Al Porter, our first base umpire tonight. We have a couple of youngsters working their way up from the minor leagues and getting a chance to umpire in the big leagues in this series. I don't recall seeing either Al Porter or David Rackley at any point in time this year. Rackley, the second base umpire. Do you?
I noticed that when I wrote their names in. They must be vacation umpires, guys that we'll see soon in the big leagues on an everyday basis.
And those guys are coming up trying to earn their stripes just like the players are.
It's just a process by which you become a vacation umpire first, and if you continue to do well and meet your qualifications behind the plate and you grade out well both in the field and behind the plate, you continue to come up on a more regular basis.
Runner is safe at first base. Giannis looks like no, now he looks all right. Thought for a minute there he had reached and grabbed that left hip.
He did. He jammed it into the first base bag when he was trying to avoid the tag. But of course, Giannis, he's going to be all right. It looked like Starlin Castro just tried to lob that ball over there instead of putting a little something on it. Nice little maneuver. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Make it a home run weekend and visit the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com.
All righty, we're going to take a timeout. That's all for Rodrigo Lopez. We'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back. Jackets. Throughout September, we'll have special programs for the hockey fan. Wednesday, the Blue Jackets Slapshots crew continue their trek up through Canada, so don't miss the inside look at the Blue Jackets this Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Cowboy, I know that you're starting to pay a little bit more attention from time to time to ice hockey.
We used to have a team in Jackson. Now they left. Maybe they'll come back. Who knows?
You think?
Speaking of coming back, Andrew Kashner, he is back after being on the 60-day DL. Had a rotator cuff issue. Young pitcher drafted in 2008. Got to the big leagues last year. They want to make sure he is all right because he can flat sling it.
Boy, can he ever. First pitch fastball 96 facing the pinch hitter Miguel Cairo. Cairo batting for Carlos Fisher, goes 2 innings, allows 4 hits and 3 runs. Carlos struck out 2, did not walk a batter. One and one to Cairo, and it looked like it went around. Nope, he didn't.
Put Kashner in the starting rotation. He went out and pitched 6 innings, threw the ball relatively well, and had to come out of that ball game, that start, with the shoulder issue. And so he has not been back out there. He was reactivated on September 5th.
That one, though, be gobbled up on a diving play by Darwin Varney. They're 2 away in the inning with Giannis going on to second base. Nice play by the rookie second baseman. He's got a chance to be a pretty nice little player for this team for a long time.
He does. He hits the ball well. Doesn't try to overplay. By that I mean doesn't try to do too much. He knows his strengths and weaknesses. He hits the ball up the middle and the other way. Line drive hitter, doesn't try to hit the ball out of the ballpark every time. But he makes plays like that and the routine play. That'll get you out there every day. You start with the routine play. If you can make that and you can make some spectacular plays every once in a while, you got a chance to be out there. But first, you got to be pretty average. You got to make sure you make the regular play all the time.
Tonight, the 8th game in the career of Brandon Phillips where he's hit 2 home runs or more in a game.
Well, you're talking about a second baseman that is consistent. He is the man.
As far as National Leaguers go, there is, with all the injuries that Chase Utley has been through the last couple of seasons, Phillips has without question become the best all-around second baseman in the National League.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. There's been a lot of money passed around to second baseman. The one in Atlanta, Ugla, the one in Milwaukee with Ricky Weeks, and I've got to believe that Brandon Phillips is a better second baseman than either of those 2 guys.
The last number of years, Ugla's always been a big home run guy. He's hit 30 or more home runs every year he's been in the big leagues, but his defense not even the same zip code with Brandon Phillips. Nor is his average, nor is his speed, his all-around game. Ricky Weeks has an all-around game, but really didn't put it all together until last year. It was his first big breakout year. And of course, this year he was just activated off the DL recently. And Phillips hooks at a call third strike, and he knew it.
Reports Honor Roll for Best Children's Hospitals 2011 by your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real.
.11-5 ball game. We've had 7 home runs in a game tonight combined by both teams. The all-time ballpark record is 8. It's the 5th time this year we've had a game with 7 home runs hit. Jeremy Horst now takes over on the mound following Carlos Fisher.
Horst has done very well in facing left-handed pitchers alone, or left-handed hitters alone. But he also has that backdoor breaking ball and that pitch there, the changeup, that he will fade away from the right-handed hitters.
What are your impressions of Jeremy Horst so far, Cowboy? I know we haven't seen him a lot. He had a great year last year, rising up through the minor leagues. There's a ball that Sapelt will track down. But what have you been your impressions of him?
The thing that I do like about Jeremy is the fact that he will pitch inside to righties. And in order to get righties out as a left-hander without that overpowering fastball, you must do that. He throws strikes. He's not out there going to walk guys and mess around trying to throw the ball 1 inch right on the corner and all of that kind of stuff. And he probably ranks way down the list as far as his physical tools, velocity on the fastball, break on the breaking ball.
The fly ball off the slightly near the end of the bat, although Barney gave it a long ride. But the ball is really carrying tonight. And somebody be saying, well, no kidding, there have been 7 home runs. There have been some legitimate big-time home runs in this game tonight. I mean, it's not like, you know, guys are shooting the ball the other way and landing into the first row outside of the home run hit by Baker, which was exactly that back in the 3rd inning.
But that's what I'm saying about Jeremy Horst. He's seen all the things that we've seen today, but yet he comes to the mound and he's throwing the ball over the plate. Now there are other guys that can throw the ball 96, 97, 95, not anywhere near where he's at. They're way above him as far as a physical level. They don't throw the ball over the plate. They want to dance around on the outside corner or maybe bounce one up there and hope the guy swings or throw it head high. That ain't gonna get anybody out. All that's gonna do is drive the manager crazy and walk a bunch of people, and then somebody else hit a grand slam, put you down by 4.
Well, that's pretty impressive right there.
That's pitching
to Lou Martinez.
Pitching.
New York Life music stage in the fan zone. Reds and the Brewers this Friday night. 381 Reds, or visit reds.com/free agent. Last home weekend at Great American Ballpark this 2011 year. 4 games during the week on this homestand against the Cubs, 3 over the weekend against Milwaukee, and then a 3-gamer against Houston next week, and that's all she wrote at home.
New pitcher for the Cubs, left-hander, wears number 54 on the back of the jersey, John Gaub, G-A-U-B. He is making his major league debut. His first time on a major league roster, obviously. He's 4-4 with 7 saves and a 3.42 earned run average in 50 ball games at AAA Iowa. Right-handed hitters, 216. Left-handers hit 200 against this left-hander, John Gaub.
He came over in the Mark DeRosa deal back in 2008 from the Cleveland Indians. First pitch fastball, 94 miles per hour.
Very, very quick arm action. Straight over the top. Hides the ball very well. You can watch Gaub as he gets ready to throw. He keeps that ball hidden back behind his body. Comes out of his hat right at the last second as he reaches the plate. Reaches towards the plate, I should say.
John Gaub was born and raised, still makes his home in St. Paul, Minnesota. Pitched collegiately at the University of Minnesota, so he's a Golden Gopher. Selected by Cleveland in the 21st round of the 2006 draft. He has been used exclusively except for one game in his minor league career as a reliever. And he gets a lot of those. Or at least he does in the minor leagues, and he strikes out his first big league hitter.
Nasty slider down and in at 87 miles an hour. And this is the kind of reaction that you love to see from a young pitcher. He comes in, pumps fastballs for strikes, and then his put away pitch, he's very confident in it. He makes the pitch. He didn't even turn around to look to see if the guy swung or not. He knew he was going to swing. Confidence.
Now he faces the best left-handed hitter in the league.
And not only that, he hits left-handers the best too as well.
And some might say, well, what about the major leagues? And I think that you could certainly make a case, although, you know, when you start, we showed you the difference in batting average over the last 3 years among all National League players. Adrian Gonzalez, of course, is now playing in the American League, where he's having an MVP year for the Red Sox. I suppose when all is said and done, you wouldn't be wrong going with either one. You had to pick one left-handed hitter to have in your lineup, and you were only allowed to pick one starting tomorrow.
Yeah, tough pick. But you can see the confidence exuding from this kid, John Gobb, making his major league debut. Do you see him throwing balls to the backstop or bouncing them in front of home plate, or the breaking balls that land way over here in the other batter's box? No.
Well, this guy looks pretty good. I mean, I know it's his major league debut, but I mean, you got to count that, because can you imagine the nerves?
Hey, I count them all. And he's facing not only Joey Votto, but he's also facing Jay Bruce as well. You don't look at the swings when you're in AAA. You just look at the numbers, and the numbers that Votto and Bruce have put up have been phenomenal.
This guy Gobb, in his first professional full season, he pitched 64 innings and struck out 100 batters. It's off the end of the bat, fouling out of play, while walking 32, I might add, so that's a bit of a concern. The next year, AA Tennessee, AAA Iowa, that was after the trade. Struck out 80 in 59 innings.
Well, we'll just put it real easy for you. You're going to see a lot of this guy in the years to come, unless the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs are not in the same league.
Fly ball short left field, and what a major league debut indeed for Mr. John Gobb of St. Paul, Minnesota. Retires a Cy in order. Over 500 feet. Second longest home run in the history of Great American Ballpark. Second only to Adam Dunn. Dunn hit a ball 535 feet back in the 2004 season, a straightaway center field. Francisco's just over 500 feet to deep right center. Jeremy Horst, his second inning of work out of the bullpen. Top of the order coming up. Castro to be followed by Reed Johnson and Aramis Ramirez.
See, that's what I'm talking about a left-hander that can throw inside. The first pitch was a fastball middle in right at the kneecaps. That pitch was a fastball right at the hands in off the plate. Change up off of his front foot, or slider off his front foot, I should say, that he swung at. Now I would imagine that Mesoraco will go with that changeup off the plate away, where he got the strikeout earlier against Montañez. Jammed him.
Well, floater. And coming hard, but unable to get there is Yonder Alonso. And here comes a throw into second. Not going to be in time. It's good effort out there by Alonso. It's a third hit and the fourth time that Castro has been on base. Wasn't like he broke back. He got a good jump on that ball. I mean, he was just a half step late.
Got a good jump. Just couldn't get to it.
Now, Cowboy, I was not on the last road trip, and I'm curious to get your opinion on. You know, we go back to when Alonso made his major league debut, and he was out there in left field the first time the team went into Chicago. The last time they were there, he had a misplayed ball in the very first game of the series. But outside of that, have you seen improvement in a very short amount of time out in left field?
Yeah, I've seen improvement. He's playing deeper, number one, so he doesn't have to worry about the ball going over his head. That's a big fear for outfielders. You don't want to be standing there and somebody hit a line drive and you jump up like a little leaguer and the ball go over your head. Nobody wants to do that. So you play a little bit deeper and try to keep everything in front of him.
I mean, I don't want to throw you on the spot here because
you're not throwing me on the spot.
I don't think, you know, I don't think any of us at the end of the day, and when I say any of us, I really mean any of us. And that includes, I think, at this point in time, the Reds general manager. I think it includes the Reds field manager, because they've not seen him play every single day. They've seen him play, in fact, 0 number of games in left field at AAA Louisville this year. Right. Well, the general manager maybe has seen Walt's been down there. But here's a base hit into center field. It'll bring in Castro. Here comes a throw to the plate. It is not in time. RBI single by Reed Johnson makes it a 12-5 game. So, Cowboy, you know, maybe you can't say definitively, you know, one way or the other. Nobody has a crystal ball. But based on what you have seen, do you think it's conceivable that Alonso could play left field well enough by the time we open next season where you could run him out there every single day? And again, I don't mean to throw you on a spot on there.
There is a possibility. Number one, he's going to have to lose some weight. He's got to, and the reason I say that is he's got to do everything conceivable to increase his foot speed. Not quickness, because quickness is fine. But if you're going to play in left field, you've got to do everything that you can to increase your foot speed so that you can cover ground as fast as possible.
Francisco had a hard time getting it out of his glove, so no throw to second. He does get the out at first.
But as from what, and I don't know if this is still the plan or not, but the plan at one point was going to be for him to go to instructional league and play third base every day. And I don't know if that's still going to end up being the situation or not, or if he's just going to be playing left field in the same scenario in the Arizona Fall League. But your issue is you have Juan Francisco at third. You have Scott Rowland coming back at third base. And you also have Chris Heisey, who played out in left field pretty well this year too.
And Dave Chappelle,
same thing. I mean, that's why I'm saying that the decision-making process is going to be difficult.
On swinging is Baker, and there are 2 away in the inning.
To be honest with you, ultimately, I think that Yonder Alonso is an infielder. That's my gut instinct. If he can't play first, then he should play third. I've watched him at third base taking ground balls. I watched him take 75 consecutive ground balls off the bat of Chris Spire, and he looked awfully good at third, way better than he looks out there. And that's just taking fungos. If you sat and hit him fly balls into the outfield, he's way more comfortable at third than he is in left field. I mean, he's playing left field because he wants to play, and he should play. I mean, the way the guy hits the ball, too many guys that have that talent in the big leagues to hit the ball the way that he does, and the way that he will mature once he figures out what these other pitchers want to do. He's gonna hit.
One and two on Alfonso Soriano, and it's in the air, foul ground. There is room over there for Joey, and the inning is over. But the Cubbies get a run on a couple of hits. Middle of the eighth, 12-5, Cubs in front. Phillips, due to the slight bobble by Giannis, Might prevent the double play, so he took it barehanded and turned it.
Not a whole lot that young man cannot do. He's hit first, he's hit fourth, he's hit fifth, he's hit second.
Well, John Gaub's going to go back out there for his second inning of work. Tonight is his major league debut. And he retired this side easily in the 7th inning, and that was Sapelt, Votto, and Bruce. And now he faces Yonder Alonso, and there's strike one. I would imagine these two have faced one another this year in the minor leagues. The Iowa Cubs certainly play the Louisville bats enough times that would figure to be the case.
Yeah, you would think.
You know, the more I think about that, I might be completely wrong on that. I'm not so sure that's not the dividing line, and guilty as charged. You know, when they realigned that entire minor league, you know, it used to be you had 3 AAA levels. You don't anymore. You know, for years and years, Iowa and Louisville would never have played one another. You had one of them that would be in the International League. The other would be in the American Association. Then, of course, out west, you had the Pacific Coast League.
That's where I came from.
And after the reorganization, that Iowa team is now in the PCL. Whereas Louisville is in the International League.
Well, the thing here goes back to what we were talking about with Yonder Alonso earlier. There is really no difference in his approach, whether he strikes out here or whether he hits a home run. Lefty versus righty. I mean, he still has the same type of approach. Until I get 2 strikes, I'm gonna try to lean on one. When I get 2 strikes, then I'm going to try to get a base hit. And that's conventional thinking for the most part.
It's good at bat right there by Francisco, or Alonso rather.
And he just took a breaking ball that was probably a hair off the outside corner. And this is after striking up a good 1.5 inches on the end of that bat. He knows the strike zone.
That is a fair ball off the bat of Desmond Mesorazco, so he has his first major league home run tonight. And now has a double to go along with it.
That ball is supposed to be away, and it gets up just a bit, and Mesorazco hits it right over the third base bag. I'm telling you, Tom, this kid, he is going to get stronger and stronger. I don't think he's finished growing. I mean, I think he's going to get stronger and bigger as time goes on. Not bigger, wider. I'm talking about just upper body strength. I mean, you look at his face, you think this kid's like 18 or 19 years old. And he's strong as a bull.
So's this guy.
Yeah. But his approach, Francisco's approach against a left-handed pitcher is much different than what we saw from Alonso. Like I said, whether he hits a strike, whether he strikes out or hits a home run.
Cardinals have just given up 3 runs in the 8th inning against the Pirates. I mean, every game now is like
the end of the world.
The end of the world. Because Atlanta is losing. We're down to the final 2 weeks and a day of this season. On the ground, then Baker thought about it. He'll play to the bag and take the out, give Francisco the RBI.
But has there not been an Achilles heel in that bullpen for the St. Louis Cardinals from day one?
Well, they have they share the major league lead, and not a category you want to lead in walk-off losses. At last check, as of about a week ago, they had the most blown saves of any team in the league. So that has been the story. If the Cardinals don't catch Atlanta, that'll be a big reason why. Mike Quaddy will make a pitching change. 1 in, 1 on, 1 out. We're in the 8th. 12-6 Cubbies. Fly ball to center field. It'll be good enough for a sac fly for Paul Giannis against the former Red Ramon Ortiz. That'll score Devin Mesoraco to make it a 12-7 game, but there are 2 outs and nobody on here in the 8th. Anyway, we've got the Leopards taking on the Marlington Dukes in a showdown of major college recruits. High school game of the week coming up Thursday night right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And the one-time Red Ramon Ortiz making his 16th appearance for the Cubs this year. Here's another guy. You brought up the name earlier, Miguel Batista. This is another guy that's pretty much done it all in his major league career.
He has. Fastball, breaking ball, and never quite been able to find the strike zone. He's always been just a little bit off. I'm not sure if it's that he doesn't quite trust his stuff, but there are certain pitchers that are just that way. This kid used to throw the ball 96, 97 miles an hour, and you didn't know if it was going to hit the mid or hit the top of the screen.
One and 2 on Chris Heisey, and he's gone swinging, and that'll end the 8th inning. Let's get a couple of runs. We go to the 9th. Cubs lead by 5. for Brandon Phillips. 8th time in his career he's hit 2 or more home runs in a game.
Well, those were no freebies either, were they?
No, they were not.
Tagged. Nick Massett, the new pitcher for the Reds. 3.98 earned run average. 63 in a third innings, 56 strikeouts. This has not been quite the year that most folks expected out of Nick Massett. Most folks expected him to dominate this year and move right into the closer's role, and that is not going to happen.
General Manager Walt Jocketty addressed something that Cowboy, you and I were talking about a couple of months ago. The Reds have acknowledged that they are exploring the idea of perhaps talking to Francisco Cordero about a return engagement to Cincinnati. Now he has 1 year.
I think that would be wise.
Left on a deal
on both people, on both parts.
It's a Reds option. But they don't want to pay him the kind of money that he would be scheduled to make. But the idea being you go to a player and you say, hey, look, now we can't pay you whatever the amount of money is. Right. It's a big number.
And he knows that. I mean, he's going up in age. But if you look at the guys that are the elite closers in the game that are going out onto the market at the end of this year, if I was his agent, I'd say, let's talk.
Having said that, though, if I'm Francisco Cordero or I'm his agent, I might be looking around and saying, I've had a pretty good year. Now, you don't have the save numbers because you don't have the save chances. But bottom line is Cordero has acknowledged he loves pitching here. There's a drive into right field, and Bruce will have room. 1 out in the inning. Cordero said point blank, barring staying in Cincinnati for a long, long time, at least to this particular point in time, by the end of this year, he will have spent more time in the Rangers organization than the Cincinnati organization. But he said there is no contest where I consider to be my home. This is it.
Right.
He very much enjoys living here. He's been a part of this community, very active in the community. He's done a lot of good things and pitched a lot of good baseball in his town.
He has. And you talk to the teammates of his that are both position players and pitchers. They're very comfortable with him at the end of the ball game. Win, lose, or draw, they are comfortable with Cordero as their closer and the leader of that bullpen.
Cordero has only had 1 bad week this entire year.
And that happens, though, Tom. As a closer, you can have a bad 4 or 5 games, and it will blow your whole ERA through the roof. But that doesn't mean that you can't still save 40 ball games.
He has had an outstanding year. I mean, you just say 1 bad week, and like you said, that can happen to any closer. It just so happened to be that trip before the All-Star break, and nobody felt worse about it than he did.
And I think a lot of that, I think there was a sense that he might make the All-Star team, and he didn't.
Right.
He was not chosen.
And at the time, you may remember, he had better numbers than every closer that did go.
Than everybody.
Right.
And it may have been, and I'm not saying that it was, because I don't know what goes on in Francisco's mind, but it may have been a small letdown mentally or adrenaline-wise coming into the ball game. You never know what goes on. But if it was, then everything after that was money, or has been money.
One, 2, 3 inning for Nick Massett. So the Reds will bat in the bottom of the ninth, trailing the Cubs 12-7. Ohio for Reds Live. We'll break it all down. Brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Bottom of the ninth, Ramon Ortiz still on the mound. Cubs are in front 12-7.
Brandon's got a chance to triple up.
Yes, he does. He has a pair of home runs. 2 out of 4. He's knocked in 3, scored twice. Top of the order. You know, Cowboy, now with the football season officially into full first gear and on our way, college season probably into maybe starting second gear. I didn't have a chance to ask you before the game, what in the world happened to your Mississippi State Bulldogs in that shootout against the defending national champion Auburn Tigers on Saturday?
I think he thought that he was going to make, at least this is what he says, that he thought that he had a clear shot to the end zone. He thought he was going to make it, and at the last moment his feet were cut out from behind, cut out from underneath him from behind or from the side, and instead of sticking the ball out, his reaction was to cover it. And he ended up on the 1-inch line.
That was unbelievable.
All he had to do was just poke it out.
Well, I felt so bad for the kid.
Oh. Well, that program has come so far.
You're right about that.
Since Dan Mullen has been there, there are no more gimmies when you come to town to play, which is fun to go and watch. I mean, everybody wants to have a good football team, and it's fun to watch. LSU will be a mighty good matchup next weekend.
Is that at your place next week? That'll be a good game.
It is the first home game, and there are quite a few things that are new at the stadium that no one has seen yet.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah,
they can beat them.
Well, you got to play good to win.
3-2 to Phillips, and it's a grounded foul.
But you know, the parity in sports this day and age is getting better and better between the haves and have-nots, regardless of whether it is professional sports or collegiate sports, and it makes it fun to watch.
Brandon draws a walk to begin the bottom of the ninth inning. Reds are down by 5.
Now that pitch there, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That pitch there was a 3-2 breaking ball that almost hit Brandon Phillips in the head, and that's why Mark Riggins is going to the mound to tell Ramon Ortiz that he's got a 5-run lead, and he just threw a 3-2 breaking ball, and what the heck is going on? Can you read those lips right there? That wasn't a hey, how you doing conversation. I pitched for him.
Oh, you're going to say you go way back with him.
Oh, yeah. He taught me my split finger and got me to the big leagues.
So you're a big fan of him.
I'd go to bat for him.
Well, you should be.
He knows when to pop you in the backside. He also knows when to stroke the shoulder. But he's more keen to the popping.
Well, they have a pair of left-handers getting ready in the Chicago bullpen. James Russell alongside Sean Marshall. You have left-handed batters Votto, Bruce, Alonso coming up after Dave Chappelle.
Well, it'll be Marshall if there is any type of save situation or anything that gets close to that, in case Dave Chappelle decides to pop one out of here. If not, it'll be James Russell.
Cardinals got a run in the ninth, but it wasn't enough. Pirates beat them 6-5. And no sooner does that happen, Atlanta ties the Marlins.
You know, I can remember the days like no tomorrow about watching the scoreboard there in the 6th, 7th innings, trying to figure out what other teams were doing and who was in the ball game, and trying to go down the list of, all right, what pitcher are they bringing in now? And, oh.
Well, I can promise you, because if any of you, whether you have the satellite package that enables you to watch all the games from all over baseball, or maybe you have friends or family you've had a chance to visit the Northeast, there's strike 3 to Sapelt. I can tell you right now, there's a whole lot of gripping going on right now in Red Sox Nation. And I mean major league gripping, watching that scoreboard, because Tampa Bay won again tonight.
You mean
Boston
holding
idle
onto the seat real tight, like if you were taking off in a jet that might not have a real good engine.
Oh, yeah. The Rays won again tonight. They are now 3 behind the Red Sox, and they play 4 games this weekend.
Billy.
No, this
on the mound. How about these numbers, folks? He's 1-0 with a 1.93 earned run average in 54 relief appearances, compared to 0-5 with a 9.33 earned run average in 5 starts. I think the young man is made for the bullpen.
no doubt about it.
And his daddy was pretty good out of the pen himself.
From right here in Cincinnati, his father, Jeff Russell, born and raised. In fact, James was born here. But by that time, after his father had broken in with his hometown team, wound up spending his best years and the most years of his career pitching in Texas. And that's where James Russell grew up, in Arlington, Texas. Down the right field line. This is up against the wall. They're going to wave around Brandon. He will score on an RBI double by Joey Votto. Votto, a couple of hits tonight. His first RBI. That makes it a 12-8 game. Still only 1 out in the 9th inning.
one of the best hitters against left-handers in the National League. It just happens to be left-handed, Joey Votto. And he just strokes his breaking ball right off the bullpen wall down in the right field corner. Brings in RBI number 95 on the 2011 year.
Now Jay Bruce charge that run to Ramon Ortiz. Close the book on him. 1 inning. No hits, a walk, a run, 2 strikeouts. 2-2 on Jay Bruce, who has 2 hits and a walk tonight, couple of singles. Been thrown out trying to steal a base. Three and 2. Sean Marshall still down there in the bullpen. I got to believe if Jay Bruce reaches base, we're going to see Marshall. Those things will start to get very scary. But that's not going to happen. Fly ball into left field. Campana, the former Cincinnati Bearcat and graduate of Springboro High School, comes on to play left field. We'll see him in the lineup, I'm sure, the next couple of nights with right-handers on the mound. Reds are down to their final out. Lopez in line for the win. Dontrell Willis the loss. No save chance here for Russell, as he'll face now Yonder Alonso. 0 for 3. Has walked and scored a run.
Russell may come right back up there with that high hard one after that swing.
To the count on Yonder Alonso. Runner at second. 2 away in the 9th. And this ought to do it. So the Cubs win the opening game of this 4-game series on the Reds' final homestand of this 2011 year. Final count tonight of 12-8. Just fell behind too early by too many.
Not exactly the way that Dontrell Willis wanted the game to go tonight, but the Cubs packed their lineup with right-handed hitters, and he had a difficult time getting strikes early in the ball game. And like you said, too many, too early for the wrong team.
So our final count of 12-8. Jim Day is standing by with a preview of Reds Live, and let's go downstairs to Jim Day.
Oh, Tom Brennan.